Something is happening to Prince. I'm not quite sure what's going on. It's so uncharacteristic. You'll see what I'm talking about. The issue that I'm having with Prince is that under saddle, he's tripping. He's never tripped before. He's not doing it in the pasture, so I'm just not sure if it's my rider error, which I'm hoping it is. I had another accident on Janana, and my hamstring is on fire. It's so hurt, and my ribs again are bruised. So I'm just getting back from a 2-month break. And as you know, my background in riding is show jumping, and I do feel like I'm transforming to be more of a natural horseman. There's just some internal struggle going on what skills to keep, what skills to drop, and can I do both? So I do have a struggle on the direction that I'm heading with my horses. And although this stumbling and tripping issue just occurred, he did have issues picking up his feet in the past, you'll see as we get there, and I'm just not 100% sure what is the cause, so I definitely would like input if anyone has seen this before. Thanks in advance. It's much appreciated to me and Prince. And I think it would be advantageous to see my riding style that I've applied to Sarge since I train Sarge, and see if any of these techniques that I'm applying to Prince are causing Prince to trip. Sarge! Come on, Sarge! First training session in about 4 months. You better make me look good out there today, buddy. You have a big, beautiful foot, Sarge. Good boy. Although Sarge is massive, he is equally as sensitive to flies as any other horse, if not more so. He's just a sensitive boy. And you'll see why. Here I'm getting Sarge to laterally give, because if Sarge is soft and supple here on the ground, then that typically translates to the saddle. And again, he does a step. He did a step. It's not terrible, but I do want to fix it. Hand over the withers, slacken the rope. As soon as he gives, your release. Hindquarters of the horse is essentially analogous to the engine of the car. That's where the power is. So when Janana has taken me out a few times, she has engaged her hindquarters. She's run, she's bucked, she's bolted. And that's because I failed to yield the hindquarters. And because that's where the power is, right? Like, look at Sarge's legs now. They are crossing over. Good boy. Good boy, Sarge. And that's a disengaged hindquarter. That's what we want. That will mitigate the risk of him bolting or bucking. And that's not his nature, but he still needs to understand this key concept. Good boy, Sarge. Good boy, Sarge. You're the best. You're the best, Sarge. Oh, I just realized I haven't given you a formal introduction of Sarge. So Sarge was a little bit of an impulsive buy, and I'll tell you why in 1 second. But although he's an impulse buy, I have made some of my best decisions through impulse. This was definitely one of the best decisions I have ever made, because I did buy Sarge sight unseen on Dream Horse, and the pictures did not do justice at all. When he arrived, he was even more handsome than the advertisement. Sargy Boy is a 5-year-old Clydesdale, and his size ranges between 16.3 to 17. I haven't sticked him, so I'm not quite sure, but I'm sure he's on the upper side of that. He just has this most kindest and sweetest disposition. When I did buy Sarge, he was a stallion, and of course, everyone in the area wanted to breed their mare to Sarge, and I did consider it breeding him maybe a one-and-done type situation. But I just didn't want him to learn that type of behavior, the stud behavior, because I didn't want to put him at risk of just having those tendencies. So I ended up castrating him, and it didn't change his personality too much because he's always been like the kindest boy. But he still does those cute like stallion like kisses, like those love bites, but not bites, but those love nudges, if you know what I'm talking about. Alrighty, time for the big moment. It's time for me to get on Sarge and go for a ride. Like I said, it's been over 2 months since I've rode, like actually rode, you know, with a saddle and reins and all that. I have saddle on my horses, but I'm talking like training because of my accident on Janana. So I'm hoping that this goes well. So here he stepped forward a little bit off the mountain block. I'm not going to fuss over it too much because he's really not in too much training. I usually just jump on him bareback. But I do want him to learn to stand at the mountain block first, you know, but today it's not an issue. Oh, so the reason why I said that I bought Sarge, he was an impulse buy, is because the night before I bought Sarge, I went to like an online auction. It was, I think it was horsebid.com. I want to say it was horsebid.com. And there was this beautiful either 2.5 turning 3 or 3-year-old Clydesdale quarter horse cross, and I believe it was a blue roan, and he was stunning. And the person that was marketing the horse had like a bunch of kids on the horse jumping up and down. Um, and then they also had like the dad ride the horse, and they were doing extremely advanced training techniques that I was shocked that, you know, a horse this young would do. And although it looked impressive, I don't find that impressive simply because a horse at 2.5 to 3 is just not ready to do a lot of these exercises, right? However, I was willing to make an exception to buy this horse and just kind of give him a year off and just kind of love on him for a while. And I had set a budget. My budget was 15,000 on this horse. That was the max at the time. And then so the auction starts, and I somebody put their bid in 12,000. Another lady put the bid in 13. I'm like, I'm just gonna jump straight to 15,000, and hopefully nobody wants to continue the bidding. And this was 2 years ago, and prices have raised a lot in horses. And then one of the other ladies, I think her name was Rachel, she jumped up to 20. The lady behind that jumped up to like 23, 24, 25, 26. And for whatever reason, I'm like, okay, my budget's 30. Like, you shouldn't just double your budget, you know, that fast. But I did. I'm like, 30,000. And the Rachel and the other bidder kept on going. 32, 33, 34. It got to like 38. I think I was crazy enough to bid 38 because I was so gamified at this point in time. Like, if you're in an auction and you're bidding, it's really like addictive, and or not even addictive. It's just it makes you super impulsive, and you always get competitive, and you consider that horse yours. You're connected, and you're not gonna let somebody outbid you. But I stopped at 38. That horse went to 38 to 39, 40, 45, 50. $1,000 for this horse. I'm so glad that I did not get that horse. But it was very intense. But the next morning I woke up and I could not believe I would double my budget like that. That was just irresponsible. And it just goes to show like how like the gamification of buying a horse through an auction is. It's fun, but you have to be very careful and you have to be self-disciplined. So the next day I found Sarge. He was a stallion, and he was within the $15,000 budget, and I just decided he is around 2.5 years old, and he does not have much training under his belt at all. Like, I think he was halter broke, and that made me very comfortable. But he was a stallion, and I never considered getting a stallion before. But I did the math, and I'm like, the price I paid for castration and training and just getting him off to a good start is way worth than buying, you know, a horse that's quite expensive, that's finished, but it may have issues later just to the fact that it was started too soon. But just for the record, I do not think that it's a good idea for most people to buy a stallion that's not broken, or even a stallion, or a horse that hasn't been started under saddle, if the sole purpose is to save money on the initial cost. And you'll see why I say that and just how expensive training is right after we look at poor Princey Boy's leg. It doesn't look good. Prince! Come on, Prince! Does anyone know what this is? I've never seen Prince do this before, and it's happening time after time, and I'm just not sure what that is. So for today's training session today with Prince, we're going to be riding in Patriots and Reese's turnout pasture, well, one of their pastures, but I'm pretty sure that this is Prince's maybe his first time in this paddock. They are exposed to a lot. Deers, chickens, peacocks, you name it. And I think exposure creates well-rounded and confident horses. Good morning, Patriot. Good morning, Prince. And not to forget Reese. Good morning, Reese! And I think we're going to start integrating them next time Javelin comes into heat. Good boy. Good boy, Prince. That's it. Prince, give me your foot. Give me your foot. That's it. That's it. Prince, I'm not sure what's going on with his leg. He's never been great at picking up his feet, but today... It's okay, Prince. It's okay, Prince. Prince, good boy. Prince. I don't know if he's being stubborn or if he's sore. There are flies here too. But again, he's never been one that's great at picking up his feet like Sarge. But our farrier comes in a couple of days, so I'm just gonna see how he's doing. But I'm likely gonna have to do some maintenance work in between my farrier coming out, and that may be the case based on how this ride goes. Easy, Prince. Easy, 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 easy. It's okay, baby. It's okay. So when I first purchased Prince, I thought he was about to turn 5, the same as Sarge, but he was actually 3 to 3.5. Our veterinarian and the dentist have confirmed he's about 6 months older than Maverick, so he's a 4-year-old. So I haven't done that much. I actually paused his training just to kind of chill with him a little bit and just have fun, other than like bareback stuff. You know, but he doesn't have all that fundamental training that I've given to Sarge. But I don't believe in Russian horses, and Prince has a heart of gold, and there is no rush. Prince is here to stay forever, and I don't care how long it takes for us to get to where we want him. He has a great attitude, and I'm so in love with him. So with the exception of the feet, he did good on lunging. He didn't trip one time, he was balanced. So I'm curious to see if putting a saddle on him and lunging if this will change the dynamic. Maybe it's something to do with the girth or the saddle doesn't fit. I don't want to buy an expensive saddle right now because horses grow up until they're 3 and out until they're 6. So I don't want to buy an expensive saddle that's going to last 6 months and Prince will outgrow it. But I am curious if it's potentially a saddle issue. If anyone sees anything that's going on in the video with Prince's movement, please comment below. I need more sunscreen, and Prince needs some fly spray, and that is 24/7 at this farm. Sunscreen for me and fly spray for the horses. And I'm noticing that the sunscreen does work for me if I spray every 10 minutes. Otherwise, I'd be red as a tomato. But on a serious note, what is everybody using for fly spray? I swear the product that I used to use when I used to compete, a few years ago, would last like half the day. The stuff I'm using now, it's lasting for like an hour or not even, and the horses still go on the fly spray. So I'm just going through a crazy amount of fly spray and inhaling it. But I don't have that much poop because my horses have 24/7 turnout, and they only go in their stalls when they choose to, which is not often, but still, there's still flies here, right? My mountain block is in the round pen. I do not recommend mounting a horse this way, although it's huge and he makes me look like a 5-year-old kid that has to climb like a 3-board fence. I don't think that that's safe. But I did build this for an experimental reason that did work, but that's a story for another day. Let's get back to riding. See, I told you, my property is like a magnet for any type of animals. Like, here, deer. They're just watching us ride. So, right off the bat, I do feel like Prince is bulging his shoulder towards the barn. And he's definitely not as flexible as Sarge. I'm just gonna try to leg yield him a little bit. Yep, he's definitely bulging. I didn't ask him to go to this canter, but I'm just gonna go with it. Wow, I have no control right now. He's bulging his shoulder out. He's not responding to my leg yield, and you can't really see, but I'm trying to apply outside rein to stop him, but I just feel like nothing I'm doing is working, and I don't want to reprimand him too hard. I mean, this is our first time riding in a while, so my expectation is low, but I do have to like work through this. I'm gonna do some inside leg yield, get him responsive to my leg. It's okay, Prince. It's okay, baby. You're fine. Just do a little circle. We got this. It's okay. Prince is not used to this paddock, but he shouldn't. He is trying to cut that corner, and I have noticed that many of my horses try to cut that corner. We do have predators and stuff and deer, and I think it's a little scary for them. And here he goes with the shoulder bulge towards the barn. It's okay, Prince. Again, I'm not expecting the world here, and we can work through these issues. I just want to make sure his leg's okay. And next time I come out here, I'm going to do some ground driving with him. I think I need to, just to sharpen him up. This is a nice canter so far. He's better on the stretch. And again, the shoulder bulge to the outside. This is something that we're definitely going to have to work on. And I'm going to do some ground driving here next time. And here again, he tripped. He tripped into that canter. I didn't ask for that. I'm going to pause right now. Go to a try. At this point, my leg is so sore. My hamstring, it's on fire. It's just, it's stretched from that accident that I had on Janana recently. Although my leg is kind of shaky, I'm determined to finish this ride because I need to figure out if there's a pattern that's causing Prince to stumble. Like, is this a result of me being an unbalanced and ineffective rider? I know most people would say, oh, it's the horse, Prince he's cold-blooded, he's so lazy. And, you know, maybe in certain situations that's true, but I prefer to blame myself first because it's a lot easier to modify my behavior as opposed to the horse. Like, as we know, horses are very fast learners, but unfortunately they are very slow forgetters. So, you know, we need to be careful what we teach our horses. I'm wondering if this is a premature breakover issue. Like, he is due for trimming in a couple of days. So maybe the toe has grown more than I expected it to have. I'm gonna have to look at his feet soon, but I hope that's not putting too much tension on his tendons. But he was trimmed 3 to 4 weeks ago. Out of curiosity, what does everyone think is the most advantageous amount of time between farrier intervals for, you know, a normal horse without any special type of hoof problems? Or how often do you get your farrier out to the barn? My intuition is telling me I need to look at Prince's feet and to also give Prince the same groundwork that Sarge has. I think videotaping ourselves is great because it's perfect for getting feedback. At this point, what does everyone in the group think is the issue? Or is it just too early to tell? On the last, well, 2 auctions ago, I rode some young colts. And I've always been told by trainers in the past when I used to show jump that I have too soft of hands. Like, I need more contact. I keep hearing my trainer from like a long time ago say, Jack, more rein, tighter on your rein. That's, I always hear him saying that. So like, I've never been told I have harsh hands, but some people on the last video when I was at the auction riding those colts, they said that I am ripping the horse's face off. As soon as we're done with Prince, I just want to play that video where they said I was riding too harsh, and I do want your honest opinion, because if I am riding too harsh on the hands, then that's something I need to correct, but I don't see it. So at this point, I'm optimistically thinking that the tripping is associated to Prince's hoofs, and that this is something that I can rasp down to kind of alleviate. Hey. And just for the record, this is not supposed to be a segment on like the barefoot trim, but I do think it's important for horse owners to understand how to trim a horse's foot. And this is not me getting impatient with Prince, this is him jerking me, and he's a big, big boy. Like, he's huge. Good boy, Prince. And although it doesn't get any sweeter than Prince and he's just a complete angel, I do think that something happened to Prince in his like history. Maybe somebody was too rough on him with his feet, because he does not like getting his feet picked up. And he did used to wear shoes, so I don't know if it's an associative issue or if this is a, like, it hurts, ouch, like in the moment, like something's bothering him. I'm thinking next time the vet comes out, I could look into this more, but he has been getting better. Good boy. That's it. Good boy, Prince. Prince is either some type of Percheron quarter horse cross or some other type of draft. I'm just getting the results interpreted now. Yeah, I like to rasp the toe first. I mean, his legs are just so big. Prince! I call this beveling around the outside of the hoof, and it does add a lot of strength. And I think some people call this technique like the Mustang roll, as opposed to a sharp edge, which can snap off, causing the hoof to get quite short, and then require shoes because the hoof has run out of depth. Big boy.
Come on, baby, come on.
As you can see, I'm not a farrier, but I do know how to maintain my horse's hooves in between like my farrier visits, and you can see just by watching me, like I'm not a farrier, but just how hard, like how labor intensive like this is to do, right? However, you do have to be careful with your farrier, and this may be quite controversial, but there are bad actors that do farrier work. And I have come across some before. And they may encourage you to put front shoes on your horse just for financial reasons. But in my opinion, I would always get a second opinion from like another objective farrier just to ensure that like your horse is where it should be mechanically and getting their proper fair work. So always be objective and always be open to a second opinion. Oh, that reminds me. Today I said I would not generally recommend buying a horse at a discount because it's either A, a stallion, or B, it doesn't have any training. For example, I bought Sarge as a stallion and it was $2,000 alone for the castration because I had to pay for him to go to the practice to mitigate any adverse possibilities that he may have because of his sheer size. And training an unbroke horse is not cheap. Like in 2022, I bought 3 training sessions for Sarge. In 2023, 5 training sessions. And this year, I've had 1 training session with Sarge. And so far, it's cost around $700. And if I didn't have the skills to continue Sarge's training by myself, then it would have been 10 times that price. So it just makes sense to buy a broken horse and not save money on the front end.
He's big. I got a big workout. So I rasp the horses in between Erica, our farrier, gets here, and it's no easy task. So when she comes, she splits the horses up into groups because her feet are just so big.
Alrighty, now it's time to quickly ride Prince and see if the trim in his feet is going to fix the issue that we were having with the tripping. If that's not the issue, then I'm going to call my vet, but I at least want to give it a go. Whew. I am a little tired, but we got this, and we need to see. Back up, Prince. Good boy. Back up. Back up. Good boy. Back up. Good boy. That's it. Good boy, Prince. So far, the walk feels good, but we weren't having an issue on the walk before. Trot. Good boy. Whew. Good boy, Prince. It does feel so much better with that trim. Interesting that, you know, half an inch of long toe on the front and the back was causing so much mobility issues. My hamstring is sore. I did mention that my hamstring's a little pulled, right? But I don't think it's terribly injured. I just think now it's just rehabbing it and getting that muscle back. I'm gonna try the other way just to make sure. Sitting trot, Bouncy, 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 I'm sore. Good boy, Prince. Good boy. I'm not gonna canter today. We can do that next session. Good boy. So I don't know if it was the saddle, or if it's the trimming, or if it's I just haven't gone to the next gate. What do you think? Do you think this is an isolated event? Do you think this is going to pop up next week? Do you think it was the saddle that was causing it? Do you think this is solved by the trimming? Or is this muscle? And if anyone's seen this before, let me know your thoughts. Good boy, Princey. You're so good. Good boy. Good boy. If anyone has any issues with their horses that they're currently facing, and you maybe have like a riding video or something that you want the group to give you advice on that's objective, feel free to send me an email. My email address is in my bio. I created this channel to be a non-judgmental place and for members to communicate and just like support each other. And the reality is that it's not always easy to find objective advice that puts the horse first. For example, I had Sarge castrated, and I uploaded my story and a video of like his hoof condition that he came back in. They were just unrecognizable. Somebody had said that I neglected my horse. However, I opted to send Sarge to a clinic to mitigate any complications. So clearly, I was not neglecting my horse, and my farrier had just serviced Sarge's hooves 2 weeks before the surgery. So if anyone else that's in our channel is going through any type of issue with their horse and they want to have objective opinions from our community, then feel free to send your story to the email that's in my bio, or simply comment on the other videos that we have posted. Thanks everyone for watching, and I look forward to next week's video. It's going to be a good one.